What's going on, listeners? Thank you for joining another PSA public sports announcement. I'm your host, Sam Delgado, here with my co-host.
Hey guys, I'm Alvin. Welcome back to PSA.
What's going on, guys? Razan here. Hope everybody's been well.
Starting this week, you can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play Music. And as always, we're on Godify Life as well, where we also have merch for you. Hoodies, tees, joggers, thongs, you name it, we got it, and we do not judge. So go check it out. This week, we're going to be talking about some notable NFL headlines. Patriots made an interesting move today. There's a new up-and-coming star quarterback in the AFC, the surprise team in the NFC, and we might have another star player having issues with his team. And we might throw some NBA news in there as well. So without further ado, let's start with the Patriots move today. So Saturday, it was announced that the Browns would be releasing Josh Gordon, but today he was traded to the New England Patriots for a fifth-round pick. What do you guys think about the move?
I'm pretty high on Josh Gordon, but I can't really be mad at the Browns for trading Josh Gordon because when you look at some of his past, he's suspended in 2013 for 2 games, but came back and made the Pro Bowl with like 1,600 yards in only 14 games. Then the next season, he's suspended for 10 games for drugs, 1 game for team rules. The next season, he suspended 4 games. The next season, he suspended another 4. He misses 4 games, then misses the whole 2016 personal time. Then he didn't come back until week 13 of 2017. That's a lot of games, and I can't bank on Josh Gordon being there every Sunday. So there's no real point in having him on your team, no matter how talented he is, when you can get something back for him that is a piece that can be there every day. Yeah, it's a future draft pick, but it's a player that's going to play. And Josh Gordon has shown that for multiple reasons, he will miss time on the football field. Not just injuries, not just marijuana. He's got alcohol, and he's taken personal time, long gaps of personal time. I'm not saying he shouldn't have taken that personal time, because that's for him. And he needs to do whatever he needs to do to be healthy. But at the same time, the Browns need to do what they need to do to turn the franchise around. And having somebody like that on your team is a distraction, and it's counterproductive because you can't rely on him in the lineup every week. So I'm honestly not mad at the Browns for trading him, as talented as he is, and we'll see what he becomes with the Patriots. From the Browns' perspective, this is a great move. Not great, but this is a solid move in my eyes because Josh Gordon can't be relied on to just show up each and every Sunday.
Yeah, I would say it's a move that definitely needed to happen. Sometimes the change of scenery changes a player, and whatever Josh Gordon is dealing with, it seems like it's beyond just smoking weed. So hopefully he's gotten the help that he needs. Being with the Patriots, I think it will be good for him, but they're a no BS type team. If he slips with them, that's it. This is his 7th year in the league. Guys don't get chances like this. So from the 96 possible games that he could have played before the 2018 season, that's between 2012 and 2017, due to personal time, suspensions, numerous injuries, he's missed 56 possible games. And teams are still wanting to get this guy. That's how talented he is. The Cowboys were after him, the 49ers, the Eagles, the Redskins. A bunch of teams wanted to get Josh Gordon, and it's really for his talent.
Yeah, I think this is obviously like a classic Patriots gamble, the same way they did with Randy Moss. I don't think the Patriots have that much invested in this. They traded away a 5th-round pick, which is cool and all, but the ceiling here is much higher than the floor. So if we get Josh Gordon that came out and produced, he only played 5 games last year, but he had 330 yards receiving. Those are pretty good numbers. Missing the years before that is obviously a huge dilemma. Like, if we can't get you on the field, what are you on the team for? But when he is on the field, we know what Josh Gordon can do. And I think the Patriots are a team that will exploit that and play to his strengths and have that production show up on the field. But this trade also brings up the question of the market for Dez Bryant, because if Josh Gordon was about to get released and he was traded 2 days after, why is there no market for Dez Bryant like this, where the Patriots went out and signed him? That's my question.
Yeah, that's a hell of a question. Honestly, that's not something I've thought about too much. But
all right, but real quick, who would you guys take? Des Bryant or Josh Gordon? Like right now.
I'm taking a flyer. Yeah, I'm taking a flyer on either one, and I'm taking Josh Gordon.
No, I'm taking Josh Gordon. I'm taking Josh Gordon because he's younger, and I just think that he's more productive on the field. Like even when they're both healthy and playing 16 games, even though Josh Gordon's done it like twice, I'll take Josh Gordon over Des. Either way.
And exactly, I think most teams see it like that, like we do, that Josh Gordon's the better option. But also, teams have also offered Des Bryant contract. He's denied them. I mean, rejected them. The Ravens offered him a deal. I know for a fact the Ravens offered him a deal, and he rejected it because it wasn't enough money. Or it was, it wasn't enough money. I think it was a 1 year deal for $5 million.
I also think he wants to play for a championship.
A contender. Yeah, I'm just saying there are multiple moving parts into why Des Bryant isn't signed. Part of it is his on the field play.
But the Patriots wasted no time. Patriots wasted no time with this move. So
and for what it's worth, if Josh Gordon doesn't play in at least 10 games or isn't suited up for at least 10 games, the Patriots get a 7th rounder back. So let's say Josh Gordon doesn't play, the Patriots and Browns just swapped. The Patriots sent a 5th round pick to them, and they got a 7th round pick back, which, for what it's worth, you're not giving up too much, right? Like, this is a 5th round pick. The guy doesn't play for you. You get a 7th round pick back. You kind of move on. You shrug it off, move on. It's not like anyone's going to be questioned for this move. No, it's a typical Bill Belichick move, and hopefully it brings them over the top. Because, honestly, the Patriots haven't looked that good. They just got beat up by the Jags, and they didn't look all that good against the struggling Texans. So maybe this is just a move they needed.
So is this going to be like Randy Moss with the Patriots or Chad Ochocinco with the Patriots?
I would say somewhere in between. Saying Randy Moss with the Patriots, it's tough because what Randy Moss did with the Patriots was historic, and I wouldn't go as far as predicting something like that because that shit was crazy, what Randy Moss did. Yeah. So I'd go somewhere in the middle. I'd say if Josh Gordon ends the season with 800 yards and 6 touchdowns, I think that's a pretty respectable season out of him, especially with all the weapons they have.
And a steal, in my opinion, that's a steal for the Patriots. Like, for the value that you gave up for Josh Gordon.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's somewhere in between. Unfortunately, Chad Ochocinco didn't turn out the way we all wanted him to because that's one of my favorite players ever. But if Josh Gordon can get in there and learn the playbook quickly, I think that has a lot to do with it. If he can learn the playbook quickly, I think he can possibly have a 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, I think it's going to be about learning the playbook quickly and how much Belichick trusts Josh Gordon when he doesn't know the playbook. Because I think the Patriots playbook, receivers have shown, isn't very easy to learn. And if you don't know it, you won't be on the field and Tom Brady's not going to trust you. He won't throw you passes. But with the athlete like Josh Gordon, sometimes you just got to put him out there and maybe just tell him year round because he's going to produce or he can produce. And I think that's going to really be the key to me to the season. Because I think down the stretch, Josh Gordon is going to prove to be a good receiver for the Patriots. But over the next 4 or 5 games, how much do they just throw him out routes and basic fly patterns just to try to get the ball in his hands sometimes? That's something that they didn't do with Chad Ochocinco because he didn't have the same athletic abilities.
One thing I would say, too, is we're all kind of talking short term, but this could be a long term win. I mean, if Josh Gordon goes out and plays well, he's only 27 years old. He's a couple of years younger than Antonio Brown. He's younger than Julio Jones, and he's only a year and a half older than Odell Beckham. He could still no team's going to give him a fat contract. That's just not going to happen. But it could be incentive based, and he could still kind of secure a decent bag for himself. And this is really an audition for the next several years. I think every year his contract would probably be, year to year. But I don't know. I think he could really put himself in a good situation here.
Yeah, I agree. And also I think it has a lot to do with how quickly that trust builds between him and Tom Brady, because Tom Brady is a guy that really needs to trust his receivers before he gets them the ball.
That's true, too. That is true. So it's how fast can he build that trust? But I also think the Patriots could be a good environment for Josh Gordon, simply on the discipline. The Patriots run a really tight ship, and maybe that's what Josh Gordon needs is extreme discipline. I'm not gonna say the Browns didn't have it. I don't really know, but that is one thing that I know the Patriots hang their hat on. So maybe that's the difference maker for Josh Gordon off the field.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so coming into the year, we all had our eyes on the Chiefs to see how this quarterback experiment would work for Andy Reid. And so far, I'd say it's worked out pretty fucking good. This week, Pat Mahomes became the first quarterback ever to throw for 10 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks of the season, which is not bad for a first-year starter. What do y'all think about Pat Mahomes, and do you see him keeping this up all season?
Man, I fucking love Pat Mahomes. Like, the way his ability to, when a pass rusher is coming at him, his ability to just quickly take his eye off of it and look for a receiver and dart the ball to him is completely insane. He did it last week against the Chargers, and he just did it again against the Steelers. And I would honestly say I watched this whole game just because I was so excited for it. We talked about it last week on our pod, and there was plays left out there. I remember there was one play that could have been 75, maybe 80-yard touchdown had the Steelers not sacked Pat Mahomes, and he needed about half a second. He was winding his strong-ass arm back, and just as he was about to throw it, he got sacked. And I know for a fact it would have been a touchdown because Tyreek Hill burned the whole entire secondary. What was also interesting about this game that he just played was that the rest of the offense got involved. It wasn't just the Tyreek Hill show. Travis Kelce had 2 touchdowns. Sammy Watkins had one of his better games, honestly, in his career, being consistently involved. Kareem Hunt isn't running the ball that effectively, but I think if they need him to, he will. It's not like Pat Mahomes is doing this against talentless defenses. The Steelers have always known for performances like this not to happen. The Chargers are a little bit more sus, but 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 143 passer rating, 582 yards, 69% completion. So, and they're playing the 49ers this week, which I also think, I don't know if it'll be a shootout like the Steelers game, but this is a game that I expect the Chiefs to win. Matt Stafford just put up great numbers given that they were trailing the game, but this is something that Pat Mahomes, I don't think he's going to slow down. They play Denver in a few weeks. That's the game I'm really going to be watching, but I don't know if he'll have 6 touchdowns against the 49ers, but I'm expecting 3 or 4 touchdowns from him, honestly. And he really hasn't ran the ball because he doesn't need to. Anytime he seems to be in trouble, he knows exactly where he wants to go with the ball. He'll escape the pocket a little bit, but this kid looks like an extremely talented quarterback. I don't know how true these reports are, but there were multiple teams that wanted to trade up in the 2017 NFL draft to grab him. The Chiefs just offered the most, and teams included the Saints, the Giants, the Cardinals also wanted to see if they could get him. But what's interesting here is that we have a guy with an extremely talented offense, but a defense that isn't playing that well. So that might be the reason that they can't go too far. But I like this kid. I think he's looking really nice. I've been talking about him for a while, so it's hard for me not to get excited. But I always know that you kind of have to dial it back at some point. I don't know how much you guys love him, but what do you guys think about this Chiefs team and this offense?
Yeah, I've been a Patrick Mahomes fan also. Not as big as you because you're kind of crazy about it, but I've liked him since college, and I think he's definitely going to slow down just because he has to. The numbers he's been putting up is ridiculous. That 143 passer rating, 10 touchdowns, that kind of stuff's not going to last.
Yeah, he's on pace for 80 touchdowns this year.
That's insane. So that kind of stuff's not going to happen. But I do think he's in a good position to put up really good numbers for a second-year quarterback on a good team in a division that they could kind of run away with if they live up to their full potential, which the real question mark was Patrick Mahomes, and he's living up to everything they thought he was going to be at this point. But honestly, the reason I'm not that high on the Chiefs and their whole situation is because I know Patrick Mahomes has to slow down. Would they have beat the Steelers team with Le'Veon Bell and if Patrick Mahomes wasn't as hot as he was? Probably not. And I think when the playoffs come around, they're going to play more teams like the Steelers. And I doubt Patrick Mahomes is going to be hot 10 games from now. I think at some point, people are going to get film on him, and we're going to figure out what's up with him and kind of slow him down. and he might still be a good quarterback, but I think the Chiefs need a really good quarterback to cover up some of the holes on this team and to throw the ball to Hill and Watkins, who both have their flaws. So I think they need a really good quarterback, but Patrick Mahomes probably won't be it down the stretch. Not to say he won't have a pretty good second year because he's already off to a ridiculous start. So it kind of doesn't matter what he does at this point. His touchdown to interception ratio is 10-1. So this is going to be a good year for him, but I don't know if they're going to live up, if the Chiefs are going to live up to a Super Bowl kind of prediction or even AFC Championship. I don't expect much from them because Patrick Mahomes is their quarterback, and it's only his second year.
Yeah, his career touchdown and interception ratio is 10-1. This year he hasn't thrown one yet.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, so I didn't start off as big a Mahomes fan as both of y'all. I was kind of neutral about him. I thought he was talented and had a really strong arm, but I would have never imagined that he would come out and do this. But after watching these two games, he's really impressed me not only with his arm strength, which we all knew he had, and arm accuracy, which is a lot better than people talk about, but also the decisions he makes, not only where to throw, but throwing the ball away, tucking it and rushing, not taking the sacks. He's a very good decision maker and a very smart quarterback, and I don't think he'll be able to keep up the 5 touchdowns per game average, but I don't think he'll slow down that much. I think he's an elite caliber quarterback, and I'm excited to see where the season goes. I do agree with you, though. If the defense doesn't improve, I don't think that he can carry this whole team to the deep playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things about Pat Mahomes also is how fast he throws the ball. There's no chance if a receiver or a tight end has separation and it's a seam route. He threw a couple of seam routes to Travis Kelce, and the balls weren't perfectly placed, but they were too fast for defenders to turn their attention to.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like, if he's getting the ball out so quick and so strong, there's no time to even react to think about getting an interception.
Yeah, and with the type of talent they have on offense, defenders have to be spread out. You can't do, too high safety all this, every play. You just can't do it against them. They have an elite running back, they have an elite receiver, they have an elite tight end, and I won't put him in the elite category yet, but from the first 2 games, it seems like they have a pretty damn good quarterback. So
pretty damn good.
Yeah, he is definitely. And
why are you laughing?
Because elite is, this is what I said, you're a little crazy about it. Because when you texted me last night, you sounded crazy, and I already know you're gonna be crazy about Patrick Mahomes. Elite's kind of out of this world for a second-year guy. I'm just saying, slow down the hype train, because at some point we're gonna see what Patrick Mahomes really is. And yes, he has a bunch of tools that kind of show he's gonna be something special. And I'm not saying he's not, because he really does look like it. But it's only his second year. Yeah, he could be Carson Wentz, but chances are he's not.
Or
and
he could be RG3,
honestly, I'm not gonna.
Right.
Yeah, or RG3 or Andrew Luck, or just a quarterback who starts hot and ends up good and maybe turns out to be great, but he's not. I don't think this is that year where he's putting up crazy numbers. I think he just has this far.
But this is the hottest start of all time. Just saying.
It is.
Also, hold up. Over under for Pat Mahomes, 40 touchdowns.
Under.
I'm gonna go over. I might push, honestly,
okay,
but I'll go over. I'll go over just for the topic of conversation. I mean, in his next 14 games, he needs what? He needs to get about 2 touchdowns to get to 40.
2 touchdowns, 2.5. Not even 2.5.
Yeah, not even 2.5. 2.02 touchdowns over his next 2 games. I mean, I think that's very doable.
I think it's very
doable. I think so too. I think he goes over
10, but all right, that's crazy.
Look, 2 touchdowns a game, he'll get to 38. 38 would be freaking amazing. Okay, for a guy in his second year, it'd be awesome.
Over under interceptions thrown, 15.
Under easily. He hasn't thrown one yet.
I don't know. I think he'll be close to 15. Honestly, it's hard. yeah, it's hard not to throw at least 10 to 12 interceptions. Like, you're talking about, like, Peyton Manning, when he had that great season. You're talking about Aaron Rodgers, who rarely throws touchdowns.
Tom Brady.
I think he'll be around,
Yeah.
like the 10 to 13 mark.
I'm expecting 18. If you're talking 38 touchdowns,
18?
I'm expecting anywhere from 18
interceptions?
to 22. Yeah.
That's high.
If we're talking 38
high,
touchdowns,
yeah.
we got to throw the ball a lot.
That's almost a game or an interception and a half for the next 14 games.
Yes.
They are going to be throwing the ball a lot, but
yeah,
based off his decision making and just the throw power, like I don't think defenses are going to be able to keep up with him.
I think he throws somewhere between 10 to 14.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So before the season, a team that we had on our radar to be one of the worst in the league has come out to a 2-0 start, led by elite quarterback play from Ryan Fitzpatrick. The Bucks are off to a very hot start with Fitzmagic, who has thrown for 800 yards and 8 touchdowns through the first 2 games. He's playing confident, and it's showing in his post-game interviews. We all saw him come out in Deshaun Jackson's jacket and chains. I hope he keeps this swag up. What do y'all think?
I'm a fan of the Harvard man. I'm a fan of any Harvard man that's okay with wearing those chains out in public. Cause
yes, sir.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's a G, straight up. So I'm in support, but at the same time, I know Ryan Fitzpatrick. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, the Harvard man that he is, you don't graduate from Harvard not with a little finesse in your game, And this is what Ryan Fitzpatrick does to us. He shows us that deep inside, he's actually got the tools and the talent to be a pretty good quarterback. Put some people around him, he will make some shake. But he's also Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I know what, all in all, I know what Ryan Fitzpatrick is. So shout out to him for balling out the way he is, and I hope the Bucks continue because nobody really expected them to beat the Saints or Philly. So they could just keep winning and hopefully win the division. Who cares?
And they got the Steelers next, so watch out for that ass whooping before y'all go 0-2.
Yeah, that could be Ryan Fitzpatrick.
0-2-1.
0-2-1, right? Ryan Fitzpatrick could light us up. Honestly, he really could light us up next week, but I don't think he will. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is bound to show up at some point. I don't know who that hood dude is that came in of chains, but Ryan
if he shows up like that to the next game, y'all taking an L. Like it's a guarantee.
Yo, if he shows up like that to the next game, I might just have to root for the Bucks. I might just have to do it.
And if he shows up to the next game, the following week, Jameis Winston is back in the building. Who would y'all start? Like, that's the question. Deshaun Jackson already came out and publicly said you cannot take Ryan Fitzpatrick out when he's playing like this. And we were talking about this being one of the worst teams in the league. We thought this would be like a 3-13, 4-12 team, have a high pick. We were talking about trading Jameis Winston because they have that high pick. Do you just keep Jameis on the bench and let Ryan Fitzmagic do what he can do?
Well, if he keeps this up, I think he's earned the starting job, and that Jameis option is still on the table. If he plays like this all season, I might just trade Jameis and re-sign Fitzpatrick.
And to be clear, if any quarterback at all, any team that I am on, is 2-0 with 800 yards, eight touchdowns, 2 interceptions, I don't care if it's Tom Brady as the number 2, 1 interception. I'm starting him the next game. If he starts to mess up, then maybe. But these numbers you cannot bench regardless. And so I think Deshaun Jackson's point, and really slick by him, is not even we should stick with Ryan Fitzpatrick regardless, but we got to stick with him because he's throwing 400 yards a game. We can't bench that guy. We're like, when he stops doing that, and we can bench him.
I think Deshaun Jackson's motive behind that was a little selfish because he's eating with Ryan Fitzpatrick right now.
Yep.
But but without a doubt, Ryan Fitzpatrick has earned the starting job for at least 3 more weeks.
Yeah. And how do you feel about this? And this guy's in your division. Are you afraid of the Bucks now?
No, I'm not afraid of the Bucks whatsoever. But I do.
Get a little confident after beating the Panthers, huh?
Bruh. The last thing I'm worried about is the Bucks, but I do think if he keeps playing like this, they are a
He'll smack
contender.
y'all.
Not against the Falcons. Like we'll still whoop them, but against other teams,
No,
they
yeah,
will
they'll-
put up some fights.
Hey, and I just want to throw it out really quick. I was the only one that picked the Bucks to win this game against the Eagles. Just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, way to ride that Fitzpatrick train.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and to be clear, Sam, if this Fitzpatrick goes up to the Falcons Stadium or anywhere in the world and they're playing the Falcons, y'all are gonna get smacked as well. Just to make that clear, 400 yards and 4 TDs a game, y'all are getting smacked as well. Don't think like he might beat any team in the league at this rate if he sticks this up. But I mean, he won't. But
The only one he's
if this
not
guy
beating
keeps
is
showing
Pat
up,
Mahomes at this rate.
exactly. And honestly, if they were on the same field, it'd be an immovable object and unstoppable force. I don't really know what would happen. We'd probably just end in a tie. It was like 99-99. Like it would be insane. But these kind of numbers you can't keep up. And Sam, you said I would wait 3 weeks to start Fitzpatrick. I mean to think about bringing in Winston. And I don't know about that. I would think about bringing in Winston whenever Fitzpatrick starts to struggle. Just think about it. Not saying I would, but I would at least think about it, consider my situation, because I trust Jameis Winston. I trusted him enough to name him my starting quarterback for the season. It just so happens that Fitzpatrick's balling out. But again, we know what Fitzpatrick is. So, and we know what Jameis Winston is. And when Fitzpatrick shows himself to be what he really is, I don't know if Jameis Winston is better, but as a Bucs organization, this is my last year, and I'm judging Jameis Winston. So I need him on the field so I know what he's made of, because this is his year. If he's bad, then he's bad. But I can't sit him on the bench more than he needs to, because I have to evaluate Jameis Winston one last time.
Yeah, and they're in such a unique position, right? Like you have a guy who's he's definitely been a starter during his career, but mostly a backup. And he's balling out, and you have a number 1 pick coming back from suspension. And we talked about Jameis in length on this podcast before, and his character issues, and maybe the Bucs explore a trade. You know what I mean? For Jameis, if Ryan keeps us up, I personally think they would get pretty good value for Jameis. He's a former first-round pick. Things were never really clicking, or haven't been clicking for him in Tampa Bay. I don't know. I think some teams in the back of the first round, they would I think cough that up for Jameis just to bring him in. Potentially be a starter, and that could be an interesting situation for the Bucs with 2 first-round picks. I mean, you could really add some talent, or you could draft your quarterback of the future all over again.
I agree, and the fact that we were talking about this before the season even started, and now Ryan Fitzpatrick came out and had these numbers, makes an even bigger case for that.
And it was for the opposite reason. We thought they would be really bad, and Fitzpatrick would be really bad, and the situation would be completely opposite. What's interesting, too, is that the Bucs have never said this, but there have been reports that Jameis is going to have to try out for his job even before Ryan Fitzpatrick started playing like this. You got to think, what is the Bucs organization thinking now that Fitzpatrick is one of the best quarterbacks in the league through 2 weeks?
And I'm a Jameis Winston fan, and I'm just when I see these Fitzpatrick numbers, I'm just thinking, what were you doing with the last 3 years of the season, Jameis? Because you had these same people, maybe subtract O.J. Howard, but you had him last year. But for most of his career, he had a talented offense, and he hasn't proved himself to be a really good quarterback in this league, and that sucks. I wanted better for him, but Fitzpatrick's shining right now. Shining, boy. All right, one of the funniest stories that we're going to hear all year, and it's a little early, but this is the best story I've heard in a long time. This Sunday, we had a retirement at halftime. I know y'all heard about Vontae Davis retiring at halftime. It's Vontae Davis' 10th year in the league. He didn't really talk to the players. He didn't give a speech, nothing crazy like that. He really just told the coaches, came up to the coaches and told them, I'm not feeling myself today. I just can't do this. And he left. Vontae Davis also came out and said, no disrespect to his teammates, but he just arrived at a point mentally where he felt like his body couldn't physically play up to a standard that he wanted. And I respect the opinion. If you can't do it anymore, hang up the cleats. But at halftime, it's kind of wild. At halftime, without telling your teammates, I'm all down for savage moves, but this one seems a little over the edge. How do you guys feel about Vontae Davis retiring, and how would you feel if your teammate just retired, like at halftime,
Yeah,
without saying anything?
I don't know.
I think
Vontae picked this team. He was a free agent. He went to the Bills knowing kind of what their situation was. And I get it, right? Like sometimes players are not feeling themselves, and they get a moment in life where they're like, "Yo, what am I doing here? I can't do this anymore," and that's fine. If he would have come out after the game and retired, I think it still would have been bad considering how bad the Bills are. They're probably contending for the number 1 pick in the draft. It still would have been kind of the iffy situation because you just retired literally 2 games after the season, but it would have been a lot better than retiring at halftime. I mean, that is something I've never heard of. It's something that's really going to follow him because he was a hell of a corner for the Colts, one of the best corners in the league. Receivers had trouble against him. This definitely hurts his legacy. I don't know if he was ever going to go into the Hall of Fame or anything like that, but if there was any conversation about that, I think that just went out the window.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever much of a conversation, but there definitely isn't now. And halftime is obviously one of the worst times you could possibly retire, but if you know, you know. If you know, you know. And my dude was done. He knew that. I gotta respect the decision, even though it's a wild one. And if you're not gonna help your team out on the field, just call it quits, I guess.
Yeah, and as much as I respect the decision and being man enough to admit that to yourself and to admit that to other people, there's also like
you could also
you didn't
wait
have
like
to do
20,
it like this.
It's like
Yeah,
30 minutes of game time, bro.
Honestly, just come to your coach and be like, "Hey, coach, look, honestly, I can't do this no more. I'd really appreciate it if you didn't play me in the second half. Blame it on an injury, blame it on whatever you want. I'm not going out there. You sit on the bench. If people ask you what's good, you can tell them. You can even or tell the team at halftime, hey, I gotta make an announcement. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. For you to just go in the locker room, everybody thinking shit's sweet, and you just sneak out the back, it's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of disrespectful.
Yeah.
Any conversation about
that part of it, that part of it is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, but all you had to do was just say something.
Teammate and you sneak out the back, like what? While we're getting our asses
whooped. And let's be honest, this is the Buffalo Bills. None of us want to be here. Like, you're not the only one feeling like, oh, I'm done. You think Josh Allen didn't want to retire at halftime? They're getting pummeled every single week. Everybody wants to retire. You just got to man up and wait your 30, 45 minutes, and you can have it after the game, bro. That was crazy. That's crazy.
I want to, talking about the Bills, do you think they go 0-16? I'm looking at their schedule right now, and this is not easy. They're already in a tough division as it is. The Dolphins are 2-0. The Jets have found their quarterback. They definitely have more talent than the Bills, and the Patriots are always going to be the Patriots. Their next 4 games are against the Vikings, the Packers, the Titans, and the Texans.
That's a tough schedule, but I don't think they go 0-16.
Yeah, I think 0-16 is just started 16-0, so I don't think it's gonna happen.
LaShawn McCoy probably isn't playing this week either. I don't think they have a chance against the Vikings anyways. But the only game that I feel like they have a chance of winning, I don't think they win more than 2 games. They might beat the Jets or they might beat the Dolphins once. Either one of those 2 games. But other than that, I mean, you're talking I'll just read out the rest of their schedule really, really quickly. After the Texans, it's the Colts, Patriots, Bears, Jets, Jaguars, Dolphins, Jets, Lions, Patriots, Dolphins.
I think they could beat the Colts, Jets, or Lions.
Yeah, I was going to say Lions. They don't have a chance. Well, actually, no, it's pretty bad, too. But I think Andrew Luck could get the Colts past the Bills.
Yeah. I'll give them maybe 1 win, and I think it'll come in the division. It'll come to either the Jets or the Dolphins. I'm not giving them more than 2 wins, that's for sure. Imagine how bad the culture has to be when a dude retires at halftime.
Terrible. Oh, my gosh. Yo, that's so crazy. So crazy.
They were a
But,
playoff team last year, weren't they?
Yep.
Traded
Yep.
away Tyrod.
Yep. It went all downhill from there. All downhill from there. So we have some really sad news for the NBA on Sunday. On this, what's going to be an all-time great, Dwayne Wade, announced that at the end of the year he's going to retire. I wasn't the biggest Dwayne Wade fan. That goes to Drizon, so I'm gonna let him take it away. But I do have a very healthy respect for Dwayne Wade and what he accomplished in the league. He was an amazing shooting guard. But Drizon, tell us about D Wade, man.
Yeah, Dwayne Flash Wade, to me, one of the best shooting guards of all time. 3-time third team, 3-time second team, all defense second team, NBA scoring champion, won an Olympic gold medal. This guy just did so much for Miami as well. When he brought LeBron James and Chris Bosh, he kind of changed NBA history forever. We kind of realized that we were living in an era where stars are going to start teaming up. And he took a pay cut every single year for the Miami Heat. He was never selfish. I remember I was 8 years old watching the 2006 NBA Finals. Dwayne Wade bringing them back down from 0-2, averaging more than 30 points a game, and just being a freaking star, man. And you knew who Dwayne Wade was at that very moment. And that was extremely early on in his career. He was drafted in 2003, and he was doing this in 2006. So I have the utmost respect for Dwayne Wade. He's gone through so much in his life. He had an extremely hard relationship with his mom. She was a frequent drug user, a drug dealer. He didn't really have that great of a relationship with his dad. What he's done off the field or off the court, he has 2 boys that he's raising along with Gabrielle Union now. And he also adopted his nephew to give him a better life. This guy has made hundreds of millions of dollars. He has been known to be one of the most fashionable guys in the NBA. What? What, motherfucker?
You sound like you're professing your love, bro.
Bro, I am, bro. This is the best athlete in the world.
Oh, God.
All right, can I continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. He was really known as a great player, great leader, great role model. Dwayne Wade is one of the reasons I watch basketball and love the game and appreciate the game. So thank you, number 3, for everything you've given to the NBA world. And when you're gone, it's going to be kind of crazy watching the Heat play without you. But thank you for your time and your championships.
You done?
Yeah, I almost shed a tear.
Yeah, that was getting a little weird there in the middle.
Me too. I'm saying, I couldn't tell if that was like a eulogy or a love letter.
Yeah, bro. I don't know if you want to let Sim hear this one, though. You might want to keep this one. That was a little weird. Well, to your point, like I said, Dwayne Wade, hell of a player. For one thing, I'll always respect him for. You guys know, I'm all down for leaders, and I fuck with macho men, alpha dogs that take a lead of his team. And when LeBron James came to the Heat, Dwayne Wade did not let LeBron James take over that team, and that was for the better of that team. If he took over that team, I think that dynasty looks totally different. And for that, I will respect him for being the leader of that team, but LeBron James was on it. For that, he'll always be a G. So shout out to Dwayne Wade. Wish him the best in retirement. And I wish his son's the best. His oldest is a lefty, so left hand gang. Shout out to him. But we're going to miss a great in the league.
Yeah, LeBron attributes a lot of his leadership to Dwayne Wade. In the 2011 finals, when they were down to the Mavs, there was one moment that cameras captured. As the Heat team was going to the bench during a timeout, Dwayne Wade went crazy on LeBron James. And LeBron later said, not during that season, but maybe the season after they won their first championship, that no one had ever yelled at LeBron like that on a basketball court in his whole entire life. Because LeBron's been great. He's been a prodigy throughout his high school, young NBA career. No one ever disrespected LeBron. And in that moment, he realized that he needed to change. And I'm not going to say if Dwayne Wade wasn't there to help LeBron wouldn't be who he is. but he definitely played a role in LeBron's career, and I don't think either of those men will ever forget that.
I agree. And we're talking about the finals in which LeBron James choked, right?
Yeah, the first one, the very first one
choked.
that he went with the Heat.
Yeah, absolutely choked. But
so y'all think Dwayne Wade gets a farewell tour?
I don't know if he'll get a tour like Kobe, but he'll definitely get something. Like teams are definitely going to show their appreciation when he comes to their stadium. Kobe's was a bit extravagant, and I also think Kobe had more fans in general. I think the Heat will definitely do something for Wade, and I think teams will too. You'll see something from them. I don't know if it'll be like a whole tour, like Kobe went on, but I think we'll see how much the NBA and the fans respect Dwayne Wade the last time he's in their stadium.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll see something from a lot of teams. I don't know about every team. We'll do a big thing, but I think we'll see something from a lot of teams. Probably the Bulls will probably do something kind of big. I think he had a pretty good effect on that team as well, his leadership and whatnot. But I don't think he deserves a farewell like Kobe Bryant. I don't know if Kobe Bryant deserved a farewell like Kobe Bryant got, but if that's the bar, Dwayne Wade I don't think is there, so his farewell shouldn't be quite as extravagant. But I do want to see something for him because he deserves it. He's a great guy on and off the court, so why not?
Yeah, I agree.
Why not?
All right. So that's it for this public sports announcement. It's been fun, y'all. Don't forget to check us out on iTunes and go to Fi Life for all your clothing needs. Y'all got anything else?
No, y'all take care. Y'all have fun this weekend, man.
Yep, we'll do. Yeah, thanks y'all for listening to another PSA. It's been great with y'all guys.
Yes, sir. Y'all be safe. We're out of here.